will say that I am going to have a zero-tolerance policy, being more critical of people's actions, including my friends. Because when they do wrong, you hold them accountable. And Zengo, if you're watching this video, get off the internet. And since we're talking about It Is today, we're continuing where we left off. In this video, we're going to take a look at Zengo's recent actions put out as ammunition against JoJo and Darkrai Clone. We're also going to reference his past actions that tie into them. Rest assured, and I know Zengo will have a hard time coping with this fact, nothing will be left out of context. If any correction needs to be made, I will do an addendum later on. Relationships, either it be parasocial or practical, aren't always as easy to maintain as one would think, and you have to be cautious on who to associate with because you'll never know until the sins are laid bare for unsuspecting folks to witness.
I don't like the fact that I have to do this stupid improving thing.
This is a serious lesson I had to learn following April 29th of 2023, from Blue Flaming Ninja in 2018 to Zengo Oshiba this year. You could say this is a reflection for the past 10 years of my life. I thought that made me realize that I've been too polite and tolerant of people around me. If I want to maintain a safer and healthier community, I can't keep working with bad actors while protecting the people I swore to protect, nor should I remain quiet about the egregious actions that affect my friends so negatively. The worst part of my fallout, at least for Zengo anyways, is that I had no intentions of getting myself into this drama when I was originally going to cut ties with him 2 months prior to April. Not at first anyways. On the surface, Zengo has often been a raging, loathsome, attention-seeking mongrel who caused much strife to my inner circles, and I was going to wash my hands of him completely. Though the realization of his ink money, lolicon, and porn content Zengo willfully distributed behind my back since August of 2022, not to mention what this idiot has been doing with Ella Gadelia, I took it upon myself to join Delta's group as it has already been confirmed on the 225 show. Before we begin, all the sources used in this video will be provided in the description down below. Once you finish the video and read the sources, I urge you to share this message with your community circles. I also advise you do not contact Zengo at any capacity at all. In fact, I recommend you block him on whatever platform you find him. Maybe HD3757 on Twitter, Zengo on YouTube, Flanker D on DeviantArt, and many others where his name is. The worst he can do is but not limited to doxing or using false DMCAs against you. With that out of the way, let's get into this for real this time.
Now it's time to watch my lolicon.
You'll see that Zengo has cried about JoJoverse using my former FP Kuoka OC, aka Astra Terracina. The irony is the OC was my art as part of an art trade back in October 2022, and there was no legal validity in owning someone else's art. Why does he even claim to be so? Was it because of taxable trades? Does he even know how those work? Of course not, because Zengo has no brain cells. Zengo really has no grasp of the ownership because I have made it first and foremost. The costume, color scheme, and clothing are all relatively similar. This would imply that it would have been mine to begin with. This OC was heavily based on my Shantae OC Kuoka. Anyways, I willingly gave up the OC to JoJo after a Pokemon contest. Side note, Zengo, you can't claim ownership of someone else's OC if you can't write a copyright to them. It makes you look unhinged and no one wants to listen to your pitiful nonsense. I wonder if the IRS caught wind of your alleged tax fraud. Keep in mind, this part about JoJo and Zengo dates back in August of 2023, and I made the OC trade in October from last year. Another instance where Zengo has yet again committed theft? Enter Darkrai Clone. Darkrai Clone is one of the people tied to Xeon 7's Discord server who primarily makes comic art and other pieces in Gmod renders. He's also one of the most prominent guests to come to 225 at night. But on May 13th of 2023, Zengo went on to the show alongside Mr. Prawn at 225 at night and made a complete meal out of himself. When Zengo tried to weasel his way out of the difficult questions Darkrai Clone was asking, he bailed out several times and got caught red-handed. Darkrai Clone went on to ask him about the models from Xeon 7.
Let's go to the second one.
Okay, so
Scuff stream, ladies and gentlemen. Basically in the discussion, you mentioned how you told me about how Xeon made like SFM ports of it, but throughout the entire conversation, you told me that I asked you for your Gumroads, and then you proceeded to tell me like they're $55 each, though. And then I actually looked up the price later on, and yeah, they are $55 each. But then later on you said, I will give you both models for $50 right now, if that seems fair. You getting 2 for 1.
It's because It's
Oh,
because
wait.
I was.
Zengo.
God, I know what the damn.
Calm,
I know what the damn question
calm your
is.
tits. Calm your tits
Calm
down,
down.
Zengo.
Calm
Okay.
yourself, boy.
Calm yourself down. All right.
Hurry up
So
and
you
get to the
can't-
question.
He's free out!
Zengo.
He's free out!
Okay, so
Turn the damn
bas-
page.
all right. Oh, I thought you weren't watching it. Why are you telling me to turn the damn page then?
It's an expression. It means get to the damn point.
All right. Oh, all right. Here's the
Face
question. though.
already.
Okay. Here's the question. Okay. So, why did you? Okay. So you said that you were gifting these to me, but yet throughout this entire conversation, you never mentioned at all that you were gifting these to me. You were basically trying to sell these to me. You tried to sell them.
Okay.
No. I'm not done.
God.
Okay. So you tried to sell me for
Fucking
50
damn it.
bucks. You tried to sell
already
them to
know
me
what-
for. Shut up.
Zango. I
Shut
am muting
shut
him
your ass
now.
up,
I
I'm
am
not
muting
done.
him.
Okay, so you tried to sell them to me for 50 bucks, and then when I told you that I couldn't do it because I wasn't financially stable, you tried to sell them to me for 20 bucks. And throughout this entire thing, you didn't mention at all that these were gifts. You were literally just trying to sell me these models. And yeah, so if we go on to the next page, yet again, as we go on to the next page, nope, no mention of you saying that these were gifts at all. So, yeah, and you just dropped these file links to me, period. Even though I wasn't going to be able to pay you for them.
Of course, Zingo lied about the models he gifted to Darkroad Clone while attempting to make shady actions behind other people's backs. The Xeon 7 scenario isn't the only example, just a fairly well-known instance of Zingo's bureaucratic corruption.
Because you're a snowflake, Zingo. You're too much of a pussy to look at the screen and actually admit that you did wrong, not only by me,
Yes, and
but
I
to
did. I just
Xeon.
didn't.
You did wrong by Xeon. You did wrong by Xeon by redistributing her models, even though she clearly has a rule that
Do you
states,
see them public anywhere?
Shut the fuck up.
Still
She has a rule
Do you
that
see them
states
public anywhere?
she has a rule that says you cannot redistribute them. Even in her Discord server, she has a rule that says you cannot redistribute her models. So you're mad at me for not giving you back your property, but you're willing to sell somebody else's property to someone else because you want to line your own damn pockets.
As DJ Bot already said to Zingo, work on your cowardice. Oh, I nearly forgot to mention Wacky Zebra in the mix, but before I get to him, I need to discuss the OC Zingo has been religiously attached to for over 3 years. The Monkey, Raccoon, and Squirrel OCs. The individuals related are Gaming Mints and Maverick Vortex. They were artists who did art for him, either commissions or gifts, and friends of Zingo up until late summer of 2022. Keep in mind, I was in Florida at the time they cut ties with Zingo. Case in point, Zingo has attempted to extort people for money. Mintz was scammed out of $1,057 in one conversation I had with him at that time. Wacky Zebra was also scammed out of $800, most likely to be used for the models of his OCs, the Raccoon, Monkey, and Squirrel, just to name a few. This is pretty hysterical considering Zingo's been on government assistance because he's too lazy to work. Once Delta released the Google Doc on his personal history with Zingo, a multitude of people started blocking Zingo, and Syndrome was going to finish the models for him and be done. However, Zingo threatened to use the US Treasury Department to get Syndrome to concede. Of course, Syndrome didn't cater to his shit and just cut him off. Before we segue to the next segment, he's also willing to use my OCs for his creative endeavors, Kuka being one of them. Now, to be transparent, I didn't know what surprise he said it was going to be until he showed me a Web of Kuoka's mod under the character of Kunowachi in the DNF duel game. An impressive piece I might add, although someone this sad and manipulative should not be taking ownership of a mod such as this. The funny thing is, Zengo was going to offer to me as a gift as a Blender model once it was finished, but since I cut ties with him, I won't be getting it. The good news is, the DNF community saw through Zengo's abhorrent crimes and banned him from the Game Banana website or server.
Now it's time to watch my lolicon.
Of course we can't talk about Zingo without manipulation, and what better place to start off with than the infamous November 15th chat logs I shared with my newfound peers. To give a quick rundown, Zingo came to me crying about Shiraki blocking him. Why would she block him? Well, Shira confirmed Zingo refuses to pay for the sketch commission she makes. This of course isn't the first and only time Zingo's done this, as he has done so to WPK12 and Nico Oyosan. Nikki Oson is one of his former clients who did commissions for his OCs, including the Kuoka Dragon OC that I have since given to JoJo. Zengo has continuously claimed that Delta lied to the artist for petty reasons when it's not even the case. JoJo has been the primary player in the warnings people are getting with Zengo's abhorrent actions, and has done his due diligence to ensure the safety of communities, which Zengo would have tainted if he hasn't.
I fucking had enough! Read! 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 My fucking side! God fucking damn it! God fucking damn it! Fucking read my side of all of it! This is what I asked for! Read my voice!
Reeling back to November 15th for a moment, the reason I'm dedicating this segment for manipulation was the bad advice he said to me. And guess what he told me?
Never stand up for yourself for what you believe in. Don't ever protect someone you care for, whether it's IRL or online. Never stand up for anyone. Let yourself be manipulated by people like Astra and Delta. Control them and let them drive you to depression, like me.
Of course, I refuse to take such immoral advice because Zengo has no advice. This was a subtle, if you can even call it that, tactic to get me to concede to his manipulation. It's a tactic that'll get people to feel sorry for him easily. Now, I wasn't as soft as some people are, and should have been much harsher than I came off. That said, I have given him some serious pushback, as Darkrai Clone and others did. Which reminds me...
Oh my god. Okay, so... Someone was literally just calling me, and a certain individual you were just talking about literally was just calling me. I'm not gonna answer, obviously. But,
Zengo?
yeah, well...
Holy shit.
Holy cow. Yeah, I would hold off on answering until after the show.
I would hold off on answering,
I'm so
period.
sorry.
Yeah, I would hold off on answering, period.
Holy shit.
Okay. He's trying to invade the show.
Here's the most egregious example of Zengo's manipulation, though. His interactions with Ellie Gadelia. Ellie was a controversial user on the internet in a lot of instances, such as her past relationship with Heavy the Squid and the Loot House scandal. In my logs with Zengo, he mentioned how Ellie has changed and was learning SFM from him. The irony is when I agreed to come on with Ellie in 225 at night, Zengo is attempting to make Ellie his sex slave. The image of Zengo in IRL can be displayed on screen, where Ellie's webcam is also seen. If there's one thing to go by, Zengo will get in people's good graces just to take advantage of their livelihood and well-being.
And don't deserve to be victimized by Zengo.
Exactly.
Because Zengo wanted to get Ellie into his house and cut off from the rest of her support group.
Oh. Yeah. So,
according to her, he offered to house her rent-free, despite complaining about money all the time.
He's also attempted the friends with benefits trick on Ellie just so that he can get her to live with him. Now, to be transparent, Ellie did not mention his name on 225 at night despite receiving his call during the stream, which is ironic because I came on to 225 at night before she did and had no outrage.
I'm just know that I'm not mad at you. Plus all the things that you told us, I'm gonna be honest, I really don't know how to feel about all that. Like, when you were asking if I was interested in kids or if I could get away with, etc. Yes, I know I'm pathetic, but honestly, I think I just need a little bit of space right now. Plus, I feel like I've been doing nothing but wasting your time.
All right,
Anyway,
this. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're
actually, this, I'm guessing the real reason, because he's about to give a BS reason, was to see if he could get away with his pedophilia with you. Like,
that's probably why he asked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
he
Ellie,
was like asking me, "Hey, if you ever got interested in kids, would you?" And I was like, no. And if I could get away with being with a kid, I was like, no. What the fuck?
As you can see in some of these chat logs, Zengo was also attempting damage control by having a Strider account, even going as far as insulting me for the reasons why I cut him out, much of which you can check out at 225 at Night's 26th episode. Mr. Prawn was Zengo's tool to conspire against Delta's group, though it should be said that Prawn did not intend on coming at me or anyone in Delta's group out of malice as Zengo does. Moreover, his part was explained at the 32nd episode where Prawn's reason for sticking with Zengo was due to their creative endeavors. Specifically, their connections for some reason.
For your own sake, it would be better if you didn't have to deal with Zengo anymore.
Exactly.
I mean, it's not. I tried doing that multiple times, but it turned out not to be as easy as I thought it would.
So
But
how
let me
did
tell you,
so
I
how would
felt
he convince
the
you to
third
come back
time
to
I
him?
tried doing it, I felt kind of emotional because I had that connection with him, and I just couldn't let it go that quickly.
The problem is, I was having difficulty detaching from Zengo. It wasn't until his Ink Bunny Lolicon and Cupboard distribution is what motivated me to finally cut him off. And that's because I don't stand by degenerate acts that should not have been done in the first place. It's only a matter of time until Prong comes to his senses and cut ties with Zengo permanently. Oh, and here's a side note. Zengo still uses the Google Docs I wrote and have already denounced after I cut him off. He's still under the impression that the docs still have merit even if I remove the information and left the link to the To Catch a Squirrel document instead. The only solid proof I provided was a police booking sheet, which I helped debunk. To give context to this piece, Zengo has been accused by someone by the name of Flore Vampiro. He's made the claim that she made the booking sheet to make Zengo look bad. The problem with the claim is that there isn't any evidence to suggest that she made the account. Flora will be brought up shortly in the next segment in a moment. Side note, Zengo takes issue with the N-word. It's funny because after saying this in one of his videos,
And when people say no, they don't want to do it for him, he gets mad and defensive, and he starts being racist, basically dropping the N-word a lot, and it's really bad. And racism is something I don't like.
and 2 years later, he would call Lone Wolf exactly that, with the hard R. Very fascinating amount of anger, Zengo. The bottom line is, Zengo lies so much about things just to avoid accountability and responsibility. Instead of being straightforward with his stance, despite claiming that people in the 90s were direct and honest, if it makes Zengo look less weird, he's often running back to the tree nest, like a cowardly chipmunk when he was picking on a tiger in the woods.
Now it's time to watch my lolicon.
Arguably the worst aspect of Zengo's character has to do with the fact that he's not only a lolicon apologist, not to mention a cub-born distributor on Ink Bunny on his Mob333 account, but also harass underage artists on Twitter. Whether it be to gain clout, having an open sexual relationship for greater social acceptance, or if he is in fact a child predator, all coincide with Zengo's abhorrent character. Now, his predatory behavior has gone as far as 2006 in Gaia Online, when Delta and Pineapple were going over the receipts of his past activities. One thing to note is Zengo was going after a 10-year-old while being 18 at the time. A young adult, I might add.
Out to this person. However, as Delta's just scrolling to try and find it.
Here it is.
Shown here, there was this individual known as Christmas Bunny 12 who was simping for him on Gaia Online and said that they were married on Gaia Online.
Yes, indeed.
And looking into it further, she said that her birthday was
July 17th, 1996.
Yep, so she would have been 13. Well, 12 at the upper post and 13 at the lower one, where she says, "Do you still love me?" Oh, actually, she would have been.
She would have been 12 at the time. Yeah.
Yeah, she would have still been 12. So, however, none of this indicates that Zengo knew her age because they stopped talking after this, after what she posted there, at least publicly. However, if you scroll down, you'll find that she had an account known as Green Day in 1996, alluding to her birth year, and she also mentioned to Zengo that she got banned, and in DMs, she probably told him why she got banned, and just proof that Zengo was friends with her beforehand. You can see here that he was on the Green Day account's friends list. And if you scroll up a little, Delta, you'll find that she was talking to him as early as 2006. So she would have been 10 years old, and he would have been 18. And she's calling him sexy, her sexy cute man, saying that she loves what he did, and also telling him to call her.
As you can already tell from the clip, Zengo has been on his predatory behavior as long as 2006, but this type of behavior has been an occurring theme even going into the 2020s. Lily the Chick was another individual whom Zengo has been manipulating for his own benefits, and a lot of them are impure and godless.
A breakup post that was like 5 days later.
Yeah.
Now, Lily, if you scroll down, you'll find that Lily, on one of her accounts, states that she's born in September 8th, 1995. And if you look at the date on these tweets, you'll find that she would have been 17 at the time that she did it. And Zengo would have been 25. So this was 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly 10 years ago, at least. So he was dating her when she was 17 and he was 25. Now, on its own, I wouldn't necessarily call someone a pedophile for dating a 17-year-old. It is extremely sus, like insanely, but I wouldn't necessarily call them it on their own. But Zengo has already confessed to being a pedophile multiple times, and you saw how he was grooming that 10-year-old, so he's a pedophile.
On a few occasions, he's attempted to date Lily to check in these receipts to indicate his child predation, not to mention his attempts to control over her voice acting career. On July 21st, 2022, he was exposed for asking Toxicity for CP. To give context, the Spicy Project incident involved child predators whom Spicy surrounded herself with, which resulted in the endangerment of children in her community. Thankfully, she cut them out, and thus ensured that they would never again endanger the children in her circle. Of course, Zengo wanted to solve the case and ask Toxicity for CP. Why would he do this? Well, he said it was poor choice awards, as if the claim itself couldn't be any more asinine. But he'll go on to say Delta and Pineapple accused him of being a moderator. This turned out to be a lie when it was stated that Zengo was asking for CP, which should be a red flag. Hats and Pixie is another instance of Zengo's manipulation. If you want to know more about her side, I would suggest checking out Delta's To Catch a Squirrel video. But TLDR, Zengo wanted to use Hats and Pixie for the same reason he did to Ellie Gadelia, even going as far as to ask for NSFW art of Cream the Rabbit, a 6-year-old character in the Sonic franchise. Zengo will use the excuse of, because the Sonic artists do it, just to get people off of his back. No, Zengo, you're part of the problem. The same goes for your turbulently online antics. Or perhaps trying to paint Hat Sam being on the wrong over her choice of lore and art. This should also be noted, and Delta can confirm this from episode 8, Zengo has been stalking children since 2006 when he made his debut in Gaia Online. Before we proceed, Flora Vampire was someone who was close to Zengo at one point. While not much history was provided, Delta and Flora did have a conversation about Zengo and what he did to her. The most likely case scenario was her account was gone before making a new one. Regardless, the claims about Zengo grooming her are more likely to be true given his treatment of Hats and Pixie and Ellie Gadelia.
Now it's time to watch my lolicon.
To place a concrete all over Zengo's decimated coffin, we're going to end this video off with Zengo's attempted violence. And what better way to start off with than his infamous death threats toward Delta 225? In November of 2022, Zengo made an announcement that he would get plane tickets and fly over to his home state and end him. His excuse? He didn't use the word kill. Little did Zengo realize that there would still be subtext that suggests Zengo is planning to go through with the act. Of course, Zengo is morbidly obese and lacking money, so he hasn't got to do so. But surprisingly, Zengo has a set of Chinese swords, possibly from the knife shop where he was improving on himself during the majority of autumn 2022. He also went on to vague posting about the swords by selling them to a Craigslist. But this isn't the only time he's threatened violence, and here's where I'm going to hit him below the belt. Near the end of October of last year, because he and Taraka got into a trust issue they had since I was helping them get the models back at the time, Zengo threatened to kill a cat near his place, knowing my pet cat passed away a year and 2 months prior to this incident, and how this would have affected me, as well as his talk with Foxhound being another instance. But to tell you the truth, Zengo can never really follow through with his threats because he's just that much of a weakling. Hell, he even admits to not wanting to hurt himself and only wants pity.
Before you go, please, I am sorry.
Now it's time to watch my lolicon.
To conclude in this video, I was deadly serious when I said in my video on Zengo in May of this year that I will be on a zero tolerance policy. None of Zengo's abhorrent actions will go unnoticed, nor will the victims be silenced by him any longer. And Zengo, I am serious when I said to get off the internet and focus on your life. If you won't leave the internet, then I will force you out. No community needs your wasteful existence and stupid crap you pulled. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video, and I will catch you all next time. Over and out.